So Leo, your February 2024 forecast on the screen now is your event chart. That big cluster in house 7, the sign of Aquarius. Now of course your ruler is the sun, and that's where the sun is, but it forges a magnificent link to Jupiter, the planet of opportunity. Now Jupiter has been retracing its steps for 4 months, but you can see in Gemini the link between the sun and Jupiter is really excellent. It's known as a trine. The element of air is at the heart of this, so it's about communication. Now Jupiter is going to go direct on the 4th, but also Venus, the planet of relating, moves into the part of your chart to do with higher truths, but also liberty, also on the 4th. So all of that at the start of this month is very dynamic in terms of your connections to particular people. Also Mercury, the planet of talk and thought, of communication, very close to the sun at the start of the month, and by the 9th they come into an exact unison, a cazimi. This sees the sun glow up, the natural quick wits of Mercury, but Mercury in the 7th house gives us an opportunity to be a bit more detached. If people see things from a different viewpoint to us, it helps us to just basically accept that that's how it is for them, so we can be a little bit more dispassionate. But the sun does also forge a semi-sextile to the moon at the start of this month, and the moon is in a more complex area. That semi-sextile is great for trying to understand the deeper ramifications of any connection, but it's the location of Saturn so close to the moon at the start of this month which is particularly influential, because as the moon moves forwards, and obviously it moves very rapidly, it's connecting to Saturn almost immediately. Now, the 8th house is very complex. It can be where we transform. It's also where we can be most invested. It can be where we're most devoted. It can be about shared finance, long-term financial planning and investments. But it also can be about alimony, divorce, breakups, breakdown, when things come to an end. It can also be to do with things like legacies, inheritances, and stuff like that. So because of Saturn's more restraining energies, and because the moon is about how we feel about things, if you're not feeling the mood music from Jupiter's link to the sun at the start of this month, and Venus moving into your sister fire sign of Aries, it's possible that there's something more complex that you are having to negotiate and work your way through. But later into the sign of Pisces, you can see that Venus, the planet of relating but also of money, is in an exquisite link with Neptune and also with the North Node. This could be a time of rebirth. Even if a relationship has struggled, it all depends on how much each person wants to own how it perhaps reached this impasse. And because Venus moving into Aries, although technically debilitated, can be a truth bringer, if there is a preparedness to own things and be open to change, perhaps through analysis, counselling, then there could be some kind of transformation which may be actually really uplifting. But it just depends on each unique situation, because Mars, the planet of desire, is tucked away still in the 12th house as this month begins, and since the 6th of January it may have brought, along with from the early part of September through till the 6th of December, it may have been during that period that you became more aware that something wasn't quite working as you would like around any kind of relationship, be it professional, family, connection with a friend, or perhaps in a more intimate partnership. And Mars starts this month in a square with Chiron. Chiron is where we can show our superpower, but in this moving chart it's really asking us all in the sign of Aries to qualify our individuality, our identity, if you like, And maybe is because Mars has been in the 12th house, some stuff's come up that has been painful to process. Maybe stuff that is linked to the past, but could be to do with someone not being quite as open and honest and committed as they could be. But you can see that Jupiter, as much as it forges one of astrology's best links in the trine with the Sun at the start of this month, it is squaring up with the Moon, and that suggests you shouldn't be too generous if something hasn't worked out well. So it's only if the other person is really prepared to pitch all in and try to move forwards should you really consider that option. But by the 4th, that move of Venus into Aries could be very exciting if you are single, because it is also going to be linking back to the position of Pluto. So some kind of big transformation around a relationship could occur, and it may be through travel. You may travel with a friend, but during that travel there could be some kind of very intense but very exciting experience around someone that you meet. On the 12th, however, there is the full moon in your sign. Now this is where you need to balance what you need for you against what you want to give to someone else and what they expect from you. And Uranus, the planet of surprises but also of rebellion, is in a T-square with both positions, suggesting that if you have anyone feeding into this equation, could be advice givers, could be stakeholders such as parents who have a different viewpoint or don't quite understand things as you do, their input could be actually very disruptive. Or maybe it's work makes it more difficult to balance what you really need to work on within this sensitive phase. The 14th, however, sees Mercury move out of Aquarius and dive deep into the aquatic Pisces. Now Mercury's not at its best here because Mercury likes precision and clarity, and the watery Pisces can dimulate that. But for you, it could be an opportunity to turn up the collar on your detective's coat and really start to think very, very deeply and process some of the information that you've been absorbing of late. But the 18th sees the Sun joining up with Mercury, and if there is going to be a period when something is coming to a natural close, just be aware that that will be followed by a new beginning. That's the cycle of life. And however painful it is when we go through these very, very difficult times, that's the thing to remember. There will be a spring again. There will be a new beginning. But it's possible that if you're someone who really likes the steadiness and the regularity of an existing relationship, that you may be feeling a little bit conflicted. Being a fixed sign, Leos have a surprising adherence to connections with somebody else. It's not always as easy to break free as an individual as people might think for you. That said, with Mars going direct on the 24th, some of the soul searching or the ups and downs around your emotions that have been so prevalent since the 6th of January this year, those are going to ease. And also there's a great link between Mars and Mercury, suggesting you could have a very powerful heart-to-heart at this stage of the month. Then as February comes to a close, we have a new moon in the sign of Pisces, but it is going to square up to its ruler, traditionally, of Jupiter. And for you, that's your 11th house. But that's saying to you, don't be too generous, particularly if someone has been possessive or controlling or manipulative or dishonest. Just remember that Jupiter, being free of the retrograde and free of the right angle to Saturn that it did have for the first 2 weeks of the year and towards the end of year 2024, you have an opportunity to think more dynamically about your long-term plan. Jupiter's in the part of your chart to do with your connections, your alliances, and that energy in the sign of Aquarius, particularly Pluto and the Sun at the start of this month, does suggest some new, exciting characters are coming your way. But there may be a shake-up around something that's sustained itself for a very long time, it either needs to reincarnate or perhaps come to a natural close. Have a great February, Leo, and if you've yet to watch your year 2025 deep dive video forecast, please see the link beneath this video. Discover your personal natal horoscope for absolutely free, including the big three of the ascendant, sun and the moon, and the houses they're located in, as well as all the other planetary positions, by downloading your chart by clicking the link underneath this video. Or you can take advantage of my special star choice range, where you buy one horoscope and get the second horoscope free. Please see below for more for that too.